Hello, hello. This is Patty Joe. Happy, I guess it's Tuesday today. I'm going to try to get this done before my granddaughter comes to visit me because, of course, that means she's going to be here overnight. and yeah, she's not going to let this happen. Okay, so we are still on day 3. We got a good chunk of this to go too, but what's this thing? This must be interesting. Okay, let's just continue. And again, I love to clown on Darrell or Icky Little Man, or, or the person who's made it totally obvious to everybody that a layperson cannot defend themselves because, well, at least he can't. He can't behave. But okay, let's not forget that there are victims here. Thank goodness he got his due comeuppance. I really would give anything to find the trial in Milwaukee. The one he's going to let go because he wants to torture Miss Erica Patterson again. So we just saw the fire battalion chief. He was a good witness. He was good. He was just.
Good afternoon, Ms. White. If you would please make your.
He was just contemplating his choices in life. I used to do that a lot at my last job. Contemplate my choices in life. How did I end up here?
Way to a witness stand. It is on my right, all the way to the back or front of the courtroom, as the case may be. And if you would, when you get there, come up a riser, raise your right hand, and my clerk Teresa will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you, ma'am. Please have a seat. First thing I will ask.
Oh, I love this attorney. I love all of the state's attorneys. Like I've said before, Sue Opper is a queen in this, and she really does have a lot of credibility. But she has put together people with the biggest strengths. If she needs somebody to ram right through the evidence and be very succinct and appropriate and direct, Mr. Witchow he's your guy. Basie, she is detail oriented, like scary English teacher oriented. She is amazing at finding the details, and I would definitely want her proofreading, all of my work. Definitely.
And last
it's amazing.
name for the record and spell each.
Nicole White, NICOLEWHITE.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen her before.
Ma'am, I'm going to direct your attention to November 21st
She the
of
first one
last
got
year.
hit?
Were you at the City of Waukesha parade?
I was.
And were you a participant or were you a spectator?
I was walking with the Remax group.
She was the first
So
one
did
hit.
Remax have a float in the parade?
Yeah, there was a van.
Okay. Is there anything unusual about the van?
Yeah, it had a gigantic Remax balloon. Oh, sweetheart, you look so cute. Good girl. It had a big, giant Remax balloon, and it was in the parade.
It had
God.
like a fire projector off the back of the top of the van with like a basket.
How did it come about that you were walking with the Remax group?
My friend's mom was with the Remax group and had asked us to join and walk with them.
Approximately how many people were walking with you that day?
I would have to guess and say maybe like 12.
Were a lot of those people you had known from from your friends, your relationship with your friend?
Yeah, probably about half of them.
Okay. And what was the general, do you remember the weather that day? It was in November, I'm assuming cold?
Yeah, it was gray. I mean, sweatshirt and jeans weather.
Had you walked it before?
No, man.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna laugh at my friend who lives in Wisconsin with his beautiful, beautiful wife. But I definitely, their idea of sweatshirt and jeans, like the rest of us would, like quiver in a corner. Okay. It was probably freezing. It was probably freezing.
Had you ever been a spectator at UBC, watched the parade?
No.
So I'm going to show you a clip, and it's kind of at the beginning of the parade. It's Exhibit 142. I'm going to have it displayed on the screen in front of you, and I'm just going to ask you, we'll play a couple seconds of that if it's okay, and just let me know when it's displayed on your screen. Is it before you now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to play it for a couple seconds, okay? Do you recognize that video clip?
I've never seen this before, no.
Does that show, though, however, the van that was in front of you that you were marching with on the parade on November 21st of last year?
Yes.
Let me play a couple more seconds and you can tell me if you see yourself behind the van, all right?
Yeah.
Does this accurately reflect what you recall of this section of the parade, which it looks like it's at the beginning of the parade in terms of who you were with and what the float looked like?
Yes.
Okay. I'd ask that the court admit this into evidence and display it, publish it to the jury.
Objection. Witness just stated she doesn't recall the clip.
No, that's
The
not what she said.
Witness has answered questions that establish the foundation for this, and based on that, the court.
That is incorrect, Darrell. God, you icky little man. She said she had never seen that clip before, and let me tell you, as somebody whose assault was captured and then published to YouTube, where people could see exactly what happened to me, I saw that clip, and it changed probably my whole life forever, but it definitely altered my career, it altered my reputation, it altered, and I was the victim. It altered the way I proceed in life. Honestly believe that I would probably still be working for the fire department and running if I had not been assaulted that day. And to have the video of it and be able to, I used to watch it over and over again. If this shows her being struck, I hope she's never, and now she has to see it, so she won't be able to unsee it. It's devastating.
Receive Exhibit 142, and permission to publish is granted.
So wait one moment, I'm just gonna have it played through so the jury can see it, okay? Okay, if you can play.
And apparently her, but she didn't say she didn't recognize, she said she had never seen it before. Two totally different things. Look at that thing. It's amazing. They're probably trying to get more by it. Oh, look. I'd be afraid to go up to it.
Can you pause it for a moment? Do you see yourself in this this section that's been paused?
Yes.
There's a touch screen. The screen in front of you actually will react to your finger. Can you circle where you are in this frame? Okay. And if we can clear that off, I just wanted to let the jury know kind of who they were looking at. If we can play it the rest of the way, it was paused at 21 seconds. It's a total clip of 33 seconds.
I'm going to pause it right there because I don't want to miss anything. This looks like a person, like a spectator's video. Certainly would look like something I would take, all shaky and stuff. So this is legitimate information. She's kind of out of the frame, but
Thank you.
okay. Thank
Did you have a
goodness.
formation or exactly what was the purpose of the people walking behind the van?
There were other people that were passing out candy along the way at certain points. I was mainly just taking pictures as we went.
Okay. And was that part of your kind of your duty, is to kind of take pictures of the whole environment, what was around you, and kind of your perspective from walking in the parade?
Yeah, part of one of my friends from the group, her younger son was in the basket of the Remax van, so I was taking pictures of him and the other younger boy.
Did there come a time when you, in the parade route, that you started hearing something unusual going on behind you?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever hear?
So she never heard of something. Those kids were probably so excited to be in the Remax basket. Oh my God. Sometimes I just think about, I guess today is one of my emotional woman days or something. I definitely, I mean, just think about how exciting Christmas time. This is probably the boot off of some of their holiday seasons, and going to a parade. I get to be in the basket. She was taking pictures. And this, I heard somebody call him a good name. It was Beefy Has Anxiety. Love him. Turd Goblin. Yeah. Icky Little Man is second. Maybe even 10th. Turd Goblin. I'm gonna use that, Beefy. Thank you.
Anything that caused you
I'm
to
so
look back?
small, you're so big, so
So what do
Turd.
you
Look at him.
remember about at some point were you
he's
struck?
icky. Turd.
Yeah, that's the first point that I knew that anything was happening was when I was hit. There wasn't
Oh my
any
God. So she never saw it coming or heard it.
commotion or noise until right at that moment.
So can you tell the jury what you recall of that moment, if you will?
I just remember being struck by the vehicle from behind, on my back, and then I fell to my knees and kind of rolled under
Oh my
the
God.
vehicle, and when after it happened, I guess I didn't really know, I thought that somebody would have stopped after that point, and when
Naturally.
I looked up, I just remember the vehicle continued.
Do you recall anything about the vehicle, like a vehicle description, what color it was?
It was a red SUV.
And when you said that the vehicle, you thought it would have stopped, did you see the vehicle stop?
No.
If he asks her if she saw the driver of the vehicle, I couldn't from my vantage point. Ugh,
Did you see any
Icky.
brake lights on the vehicle?
icky little
Not
man.
that I can recall.
Turd God. Oh my God.
The objection is noted, it's overruled. Will you restate your answer, please?
No.
And I should have maybe clarified, did you see any brake lights activated after, when you looked up from being hit?
Detail girl.
Now, where were you in relationship to the float when the car struck you? Were you immediately behind the float? Do you recall?
I was probably a couple of yards back from the float, but I was behind The Remax van, yes.
So would it be fair to say that you were more in the middle of the road versus on the left or the right side of the road?
Yes.
And when you looked up after being struck, did you see the path that the car took, or the SUV?
It veered to the left side of the van that was in front of me.
And then did you see where it went after that?
It just continued, but I couldn't, like the van, well, I couldn't see anything beyond that, no.
As you saw the car after it struck you, so what you're saying, I just want to make sure I've got this right, is prior to the vehicle striking you, you never looked back before it struck you.
Correct.
So you didn't know what hit you at the time that you were struck.
Correct.
And when it went past you, how fast was it going? And I'm not really talking about how many miles per hour, but was it at a slow speed, a medium speed? How would you describe it for the jury?
Hearsay.
Overruled.
How is that hearsay? What a
Um,
moron.
I mean, I would guess probably maybe 20 miles an hour.
I'm
Fast.
assuming that you drive a car daily
Yes, ma'am.
and you've been driving for 10 years, more than 10 years?
More than 10
Okay,
years. Yes.
thank you. Did you ever hear a horn coming from the car prior to you being struck?
No.
Did you hear a horn coming from the car or horn noise coming from the car after you were struck?
No.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. It'll again be on the screen. And would you generally characterize this, and it can be displayed, it's already been admitted into evidence.
Yes, permission to publish. Once again, is granted.
Generally speaking, do you recognize this as the parade route? If you look in the upper right part of the screen, there's like a purple line that kind of goes down White Rock Avenue, takes a right, and it goes down Main Street.
I'm going to pause this and make it a little bit bigger just because this is amazing to me. Okay, so here is again, right here would have been the staging and the start of it. They turn onto Main Street, go down Main Street. Here's that 5 points big intersection that they always talk about, probably make it the center of town is probably something. And then Main Street veers off and there's a park over here. But look at all of these names. Everybody he physically hit. That doesn't even count the people who saw it. I keep going back today to my assault, which is nowhere near the magnitude of this. And I've been hit by a car on a call at work, and where I was tending to a person and a drunk driver drove through. People watching that are affected. There was a lady who was across the street. I was assaulted like at 10 or 10:30 at night. Across the street, there was a lady on the sidewalk, and she was standing there, and I could hear her while this was all going on, screaming at the security officers who were coming out of a door around the corner of the building. And she's screaming, "Hurry, he's killing them, he's hurting them. Hurry, need to run, you need," and she had come into the emergency room. I don't know how she got in there. And she came to where we were being treated for our injuries, and she said, I saw it, and I didn't want to run over it. And I said, thank God you didn't run over. You just would have been another victim. But now I see she was already another victim. I know she remembers that night. I don't know this lady. I never knew her name. But I know by her response and her reaction, she remembers the night that I was assaulted as quickly as I recall it. Okay, moving on. Not about me.
Does that look familiar?
Yes.
and that would be the route of the parade that day.
Look at all those people.
Yes.
And direct your attention to
And this poor girl.
approximately
Oh my gosh.
shortly after Main and Barstow. There's a star, a yellow star, and then if you connect that line to the yellow star,
I'm guessing
it
this
says
is
your name
Barstow?
and Remax Services. Do you see that?
Yes.
Would,
Right, this one.
would it help if we zoomed in, or you can see it from there?
I can see it.
Okay. Why don't we zoom in a little bit so maybe the jury can see it? I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
need
any of
it.
you
Oh,
are with
there we go.
WAUKESHA, but the roads are kind of a little crazy. And would that accurately reflect where
So
you were
cute.
struck?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I see it. So here's Barstow. It's a bigger street.
After you were struck, what did you observe of the parade route?
I mean, it was very chaotic. There was people at that point that began like running and screaming to either help others or flee from the area. There was like a group that like came to me and like helped me over to
God.
like the side of the road.
Were you able to walk?
No, my knee was injured, so
What did you do what happened after you got to the side of the road?
initially the people that came to me helped me sit in a chair on the side of the road, and then eventually moments later they moved us into the building that was right there, which was the Smart Asset Realty.
And that's also in the area, I think it's reflected on Exhibit 15, that would be in the area of where you were struck.
That's correct, yes.
What did you do once you got into the Smart Asset Realty building?
I mean, there was several other people that were in there as well, and I sat there and waited. There was a nurse or someone that had like some medical experience that kind of like looked at me, and then I waited until later on when there was a police officer that came back and escorted me to the hospital.
So the police officer transported you to the hospital?
Correct.
Was that WAUKESHA Memorial Hospital?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 20. And I'm going to ask you, it'll just be in front of you initially. I'm going to show you a couple seconds of that and ask you if that's, if you recognize what's contained in that video. It is a 3-second video, so I'll actually show the whole thing to you before we ask that it be admitted and published. So why don't you take a moment to view that? Is it on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you recognize that video?
No, I had not seen that before.
Do you recognize what took place in that video?
Yes.
Can you describe to the jury what you just saw?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
I'm not even going to stop. It's overruled. It's not hearsay. Okay, just because
It was.
she didn't see the video doesn't mean she doesn't remember the event. Okay, he's trying to separate. It's like separating his persona from his person. You cannot separate. I'm a third party intervener, and just because you say it, everybody's supposed to believe it. She was there. It's just like I wasn't ready for this trial because I only had 3 days since I fired my attorneys like an imbecile. You know what? You had the whole year, and by the way, you were there. So if you want to defend yourself against something that you did, you remember what you did. You remember why you did it. People don't do things because they think they're wrong. People do things in the time because that's the decision. What I used to tell the paramedic students is this: every decision you make you have a 50% chance of getting it right and a 50% chance of getting it wrong every single time. You do not hedge that by being more knowledgeable or being more experienced, or you're faster at making the decisions, but the statistics are the same. So if I have a choice of putting a splint on or not putting a splint on, or putting this kind of splint or that kind of splint, or one of those is going to be a wrong decision and one of those is going to be a right decision, and I might choose the wrong one. But you always have the same. I don't even know where I'm going with that anymore.
There's a video of
I lost my train of
that took
thought
place that
because he
day
makes me so
where I
mad.
was struck by the vehicle.
Oh my God! Is that the 3 seconds where she's struck?
I would ask the court to admit.
But just
Exhibit
because she
into evidence and
doesn't
also
see
to
the
allow
videos
the
doesn't
state
mean
to
it
publish
doesn't makes her incredible. It's or uncredible
It'd be exhibit 20.
or
Mr.
non-credible.
Objection.
Objection.
The objection is noted, it's
I have
overruled.
I have
Exhibit
no
20
legal-
is received permission to publish is
I just
correct.
object.
Now, before we start the video,
I get on my
do you recognize
scale
the
every
white
day and
band
object
that's
to that too.
depicted, I'd say in the upper third of the screen?
Yeah, that is the Remax van.
And you see approximately where you are on this frame?
Yes.
And
They
can
might not
you-
show
I don't
it to
know if you
us.
can do it with the video, but if you can just circle it, or circle you.
Yeah, because it's the screen that
Off
she's.
the top of.
Yeah. Can we clear that? I think you circled a couple people. There's one, and I think before you circled yourself, you were wearing a red sweatshirt. Right there. Okay, thank you. If you can clear
She
the
likes
screen.
red. Look at her.
And let's
She
take a
likes
look
red.
at the video. Thank you.
I'm glad she keeps wearing it.
You just looked at the video.
Overruled.
And did that accurately depict the car hitting you from behind and then rolling over your legs?
Yes.
What injuries did you suffer as a result of this,
Um,
generally speaking?
2 torn ligaments in my right knee, and then to my spine, like my lower spine. 2 vertebrae were like compressed, and then my tailbone.
And those were all the results of being struck?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further. Thank you.
Any cross, Mr. Brooks?
Yes, Your Honor. You stated that when you were struck from behind, you didn't hear or see the vehicle approach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
From behind, Darrell. That's what that means.
And you estimated this. Did you estimate the speed, or do you recall how fast the vehicle may have been going
When it hit me, no, I was not able to see that.
when it passed you?
They had asked me when it passed me afterwards what I would estimate it to have been. And I said, if I had to guess, it was probably around 20 miles an hour afterwards.
Would it be fair to say from the videos that we just saw that the vehicle wasn't traveling fast?
Your Honor, I'm just going to, for the record,
Grounds.
just clarify that the video is showing at 50% speed.
Grounds? Wow.
What?
I didn't know that initially, I guess.
Nobody do that.
Can you play it at full speed then, please? And then he can ask the question.
Certainly.
What is he implying? That if it was going half the speed, it didn't run over her as badly? Or she should have been able to get out of the way? Or what's your point, Darrell? Do you have a point? I'm getting old here. Get to it. God. Turn. Ugh.
You said that you would estimate the vehicle was going around 20 miles per hour.
Correct.
Why does she have to even talk to him?
And how would you come to that estimation?
It's an
I'm not
estimate.
sure how you want me to answer that question.
It's an estimate.
And
Almost a year after my assault, I was in court. My partner, who was also assaulted that night, had started refusing to honor the subpoenas, and she didn't have repercussions from that. So, and I'm happy about that. But I did go to court, and to have to sit across the table from that maniac, and then the judge asked me to basically narrate my video of me being assaulted. And then to have him say, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, was so, every part of that was just like another punch in the head, punch in the face that he did, hitting me with my radio, hitting me with my partner's radio, pulling my hair down to the ground, my head by my hair down to the ground. All of those things just all over again in slow motion, again and again and again. And to have her have to look at his dumb face and answer his ridiculous questions just offends me.
This is for you saying 20 miles per hour.
based on previous experience with vehicles,
Thank you.
traffic.
So would it be fair to say you don't know for sure how fast the vehicle was traveling?
There's no way for me to say for sure how fast the vehicle was going. I was not driving it.
You were so close.
You stated that you fell to the ground. Would that
Yes,
be fair to say?
after you
Yes.
ran over me.
Did you at any point get a description of the driver? Of
I
the
knew it!
vehicle?
I knew he was gonna say it. How could she see the driver if you're running her over? How could she do it? Oh, I'm not gonna be able to go beyond her. I was gonna try to do more than one witness, but I don't know. I might need a
No.
break. Oh, holy. Oh.
Were you able to make out if anyone was in the vehicle besides the driver?
No.
Did you get a license plate number?
A license plate.
No.
What? You know what? I don't think I'm the most experienced paramedic or firefighter or instructor or whoever to testify in cases, but license plate, a license plate. I don't know what a license plate is. I'm sorry, you're going to have to say what it is. A license plate. The tag on the back or the front, which I cannot see as you're barreling over me. License plates. License plates. A moron.
Did you file a claim in this matter?
You mean a claim? It's not a civil matter.
There was a police report filed, yes.
Do you remember the name of the officer that you filed the report with?
No, I do not. It was an FBI agent.
Oh, please don't offer him
Do
information.
you recall the date that you were interviewed or that you made the report?
November 21st.
Would that be with the FBI agent as you just stated or with local law enforcement?
The FBI.
Now remember, the FBI was called in, as it would be on most of these large incidents, to make sure that this is not a terrorist event like the marathon bombing, that there isn't some sort of other agenda at play. Now, this just ended up being dumb Darrell. I'm sorry, it's not funny. Kind of funny, but it's not funny. It just ended up being dumb Darrell thinking that the whole world revolves around him and trying to flee from the scene of his last crime. But, and then having everybody in his life, meaning his mother, endorse that idea that he doesn't remember. He remembers. He just blocks it out. Ugh. Did you see the driver?
I know it's kind of far, but can you see this paper?
Oh my God. That's not. Oh.
Yeah.
Is that your handwriting?
If you can't see it that close, just say you can't.
I can't read it from here.
With the document camera we can put up.
See if we can get this up and just project
Okay,
it on the
thank
screen.
you.
He should have no questions for this witness, by the way. I don't know how you have questions for the first person you actually, and he didn't just hit her, he ran her over. Moron. And look at him, so proud, he thinks he's doing something.
Apparently it takes about 2 minutes to project it. Just to verify, this will just be previewed for the witness. It does have personal identifying information on it.
Okay.
This stuff is amazing. When this stuff came into my classroom, I was lost, and I'm pretty tech savvy.
Public trial, we have to remember that.
It's public for you. It's public for you. It doesn't mean that everybody else's social security number and address need to be blasted across the internet. Ugh, you're disgusting. What a despicable person.
Oh, it's upside down. Okay.
Criticisms.
You move it up a little bit. Well,
God.
can you see that?
It's not in front of her.
Oh,
yet, so
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure we get it working.
I'm sorry.
Should be there momentarily.
I apologize.
No, you don't.
No, there you go. It's up.
Oh, you're disgusting.
Is that your handwriting on this document?
Yes.
And you stated that you gave a report to the FBI on November the 21st. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is it correct that this date here says 12/29 of 21?
That's not what this form is.
What would this form be?
That was a form that was filled out as a follow-up based on my experience at the parade. I spoke with someone in person on the 21st.
Do you know who provided you with this form that we're looking at?
I believe it was through the Victims Witness program. I don't recall correct, no. It was emailed to me, I believe.
So would it be fair to say then that the report you filed was with Officer Wagner?
You talking about this report or previously?
The report of being struck
On the 21st of November?
on the 21st of November.
Do you know the name of the individual you spoke with on the 21st?
Not offhand, no.
Do you recall stating in the report that you filed on November 21st that you saw a red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front?
I don't believe, that's what I recall is what I had stated earlier, was that I saw it veer to the left of the float. From there, I wouldn't have been able to see.
Would it be fair to say that, reading from the report that you gave on November the 21st, that it says that you saw a red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front?
I don't have the report, so.
Would you like to see it? I have it right here.
Mr. Brooks, do you want to show her the report? Then you need to put it on the document camera. Preview it again. Oh, go ahead.
Your Honor, that is not the report. I believe that may have been notes that were with the report that went to Mr. Brooks. That is not the report.
Looks to be a summary of what she may have provided to another officer or FBI agent, but not the report itself. So in light of that, she's not going to be questioned on that unless that helps refresh her recollection.
Does it?
Look at it, it's in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Does that in any way help refresh your recollection about what you may have told an investigator in this case? On the 21st, sorry.
Yeah, I believe this was a year ago, but I believe what I said was that I witnessed it continue to drive, veer to the left to avoid the van that was in front of me, and then continue driving without stopping.
And just so the record is clear, because it was being used, I think, to refresh her recollection. After she reviewed it, I turned off the camera. So it's not in front of her at the moment.
What's your point, Darrell?
It's being-
Really? Really, what's your point?
Go ahead.
Get to
ask
it,
your
please.
question.
Aging as we go. More gray hair.
I have the actual report too.
Darrell, my hair is getting gray, waiting for you to get to a point with this lady. And your hairline is receding as we speak.
If that may help.
No. What's your point?
Would it be fair to say that you testified that you don't recall hearing anything or seeing anything before you were struck, correct?
Correct.
And now this is reading from the report, page 1.
I guess the proper foundation for Mr. Brooks to use would be if reviewing a report would refresh her recollection, and then based upon her answer, he would go from there.
Well, you can also just directly ask the question, since it's on cross-exam. Isn't it true that you said X to the investigator?
In other words, they're helping you.
But you need to
Not only did the judge just help him, but the prosecution helped him. Oh, disgusting. Disgusting.
quote directly then from the
I intend
report.
to,
Go ahead, ask your question.
quote right from here. Is it true that you said when you were walking, well, it says, White explained, when she was walking, she heard screaming, and as she looked around, she was hit by the red SUV. Does that refresh or help you recall anything that happened on November 21st?
No,
No.
Do you recall saying that?
I do not recall those exact words, no.
Because, Darrell, as we all know, that's what the guy interpreted from her story. He used to interpret people's story all the time. It doesn't mean it evolved. How much more does she have
Do
to
you
endure?
recall saying that when this is all explaining like in the third person, I was saying, it says White, as she lay on the ground, White stated she observed the red SUV go to the left of the float and then to the right in front of the float.
Again,
Hold on, she may answer. Go ahead.
as I previously stated, I observed the van go towards the left, the vehicle go towards the left of the van, at which point there was no indication that it was stopping or anything, and that it continued from there. I could not see what happened beyond it going to the left of the van because the van was in front of me blocking my view.
It also says White stated the vehicle appeared to be traveling extremely fast and it did not slow down or even brake. But you just said that you couldn't see the vehicle once it veered around the van. Is that fair to say?
As
Why?
it veered to the left of the van, it did appear to be moving fast, yes.
Would it be fair to say that the video footage doesn't show that?
Objection, that mischaracterizes the video footage, as the
Grounds.
video was
Yes, it mischaracterizes the video, even though we didn't see it. We don't even have to see it. Are you trying to imply that you did something other than what is happened that day? It happened. We have thousands of people who were watching the parade. We have hundreds of people in the parade, maybe even close to 1,000. We have people who were, almost every single one of them were taking picture, taking video. There's surveillance cameras from the businesses. There's just because she didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen, Darrell. You didn't.
cut off shortly after striking Miss White.
You're making an argument, which is something you can do later, so I'll sustain the objection as to the form of the question.
Terrible, man.
It goes on to say
Terrible.
White did not observe the driver of the SUV and could only describe the SUV as red, and it appeared to be a lower rise, in quotation marks, SUV and maybe a Traverse. Do you recall saying that?
I said it was of similar size to a Traverse.
What is a Traverse?
Well,
Grounds.
overruled, she may answer and explain why she said what she did.
Okay. A traverse, I think, is this a similar. Let's take a look. Traverse. A traverse vehicle. Let's take a look at an image. It's a Chevy, not a Ford, so it's like the equivalent size and shape ish. Now that's a 2020, so that's what it is. That's what it is, Darrell.
Because, in my opinion, it's a lower sitting.
Of course you would think it was lower. It ran over.
Some of the higher.
Of course she thought it was lower.
Some of them sit up higher and are bigger in size. It was more of a mid-size, lower to the ground SUV, in my opinion.
Oh, God.
Similar to a Traverse.
She didn't see the license plate either.
Do you recall saying that, and I'm reading from the report again, White stated that she was treated and released at WAUKESHA Memorial Hospital and sustained bruising, scars, and road rash on her body and a knee injury to her right leg. White stated that she did not have a broken leg, but may have a torn MCL. Do you recall reporting that?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say
Nothing he says next is going to be fair to say. An emergency room, despite what everyone thinks, is not your primary physician. I was going to say they could care less. They could care less. They don't really put emphasis on the minutia of the injuries. Okay? If the bones are not broken and require setting, if the bleeding is controlled, if the pain level is an issue, is controlled, if it's not going to cause you a morbid injury, so an injury that would cause you death, they're going to send you home with a recommendation to see an orthopedic person, any kind of GI specialist, a cardiac specialist. Your primary physician is a good one. They are not primary physicians. They're not. So if you're not taking your hypertension medication and all of a sudden you have a headache, yes, you're at risk from a stroke. But as soon as they rule that out and get your blood pressure to a normal level, it's really up to you after that. You go home. You don't stay there to make sure you're going to take your medicine. That they're not your parents. So in her case, they probably check for broken bones, for internal bleeding, even in the leg, to make sure that she's not going to get a compartment syndrome or something that could cost her leg or cost her life. Once those injuries, they're not going to even specifically go through and find all the injuries. They didn't find my broken jaw for weeks after my assault. Weeks. And it was the oral surgeon who said, this was a broken jaw. That was a fracture in your jaw. That's why your face looks like this. That's why you still have inflammation here, because it's still healing. That was the issue. So they're not even going to find all the injuries potentially. They're going to rule out anything major, and they're going to say, you know what? You need to see an orthopedic person and your primary care physician. That's what they're going to say. So nothing you say is fair. But let's move on. Let's see what Darrell's point is. What's your point, Darrell?
and I'm asking this because you said may have a torn MCL. Would it be fair to say that at that time you were not sure of the full extent of your injury?
Yes.
True. It's true, but it's not fair to say. No, she would not have known the full extent of her injuries. Is it fair for him to say that? No, you ran her over.
About how long were you treated at WAUKESHA Memorial Hospital?
A few hours.
I'm laughing at this guy back here. Look at this guy. Because he can see Darrell has no point. Ah.
And did you file a claim in this matter? Any type of claim?
No, it's not a civil claim.
Yes.
Well,
What
yeah.
was that claim?
There were
Medical
claims
bills.
that were filed with the state of Wisconsin that were to cover like the cost of the medical treatment that was received.
So the state of Wisconsin offered to pay your medical expenses.
It was through the Victim Witness Protection Program.
What is your point, Darrell? Do you think that the people you ran over, I love talking straight to him, do you think the people that you ran over should have been financially liable for your crime? The state of Wisconsin has a victim money pool or whatever it is that helps them pay those medical costs. But quite frankly, you should have to pay them back. And isn't that what restitution is? Ugh, God, what an icky
So
little
would you
man.
consider yourself a party to this matter then?
Objection.
No.
Grounds.
Sustained, not relevant. Excuse me.
The civil things and the criminal things, two separate things.
And in the claim that you filed, did you file a claim under an injured party?
Well, yes, she was injured.
Objection. I guess I'm not
Grounds.
understanding the question. It's vague.
Grounds.
It's vague. That's the grounds, dum-dum.
Filed a claim because she was injured.
So
Mr. Brooks, I'm sustaining the objection as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
do you consider yourself an injured party?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you a plaintiff in this matter?
No.
Grounds.
Oh, she's a witness. Sustained.
Have you read or seen the complaint in this matter at any time?
Why would
Objection
she?
is irrelevant.
Grounds.
Okay. Sovereign citizens seem to think that everything is a civil matter. It is not. We as a society come up with social construct. We come up with social rules. You're not allowed to go over a designated speed on a roadway in a vehicle because it has been statistically deemed to be dangerous. Those are not arbitrary numbers. Okay, Stay Alive 55 back in the 70s. That was not arbitrary. The National Highway Safety Administration, NHTSA, came up with that based on the number of deaths at certain speeds, which is why in your car you basically have, similar to an airplane, a black box issue where, situation, the computer that can tell you how fast the car was going at the time of the stop, at the crash. So it will, have a lot of it. It's not as intricate, but it has a lot of information. These rules and social constructs or social rules, we vote on them. I've used the example before and I'll use it here again. In Maryland, you have to wear a helmet on a motorcycle. It's the law. Statistically, we've all decided that we're better off, we have better outcomes in accidents if the person on the motorcycle is wearing a helmet. Now, I've had that not be true. I've had friends pass away. So I know that there's still a risk. In Pennsylvania, they have voted very differently. If I cross that Maryland-Pennsylvania line, I don't know about West Virginia or Ohio. I don't know about those places. But if I go straight up into Pennsylvania, I can take off my helmet legally. Because they have voted a different way. They have a different set of rules. So each state, according to the 10th Amendment, and this is another thing that sovereign citizens like to overlook, the 10th Amendment gives each state the power to make those rules. Okay, so he's broken a few of these Wisconsin social construct statute rules that they've all decided, maybe not 100%, but to the majority, that these are the rules of the road that he broke. These are the rules of social construct that he broke. That does not make it a civil claim. That is something completely different. I wish these people would come back and sue him and his mother, quite frankly.
Rules, she may answer.
Sorry, what was the question?
What's your
complaint?
No, I don't know what complaint is being referred to. No.
She doesn't even know what it is. She's a realtor or photographer or something, whatever it is she does.
And were you aware that you may be called to testify in this matter?
Yes.
Yeah, because you ran her over.
And who are you?
I can't.
by?
The victim witness program and the prosecutors.
Who represent
Are
the
you
state of
representing the
Wisconsin.
State of Wisconsin.
No.
Grounds.
That's actually not what she said. She said the victim assistance person told her, and the state's attorney's office, who's representing the state of Wisconsin, told her. He's trying to twist the narrative. He's trying to play with semantics and have her say what comes out of his mouth. So he's very close to testifying, in my opinion. I'm going to need a break after her. Seriously.
Sustained.
It's exhausting.
11, please move on to another line of questioning.
Thank you.
At the moment that you were struck, did you observe anyone else struck at that time?
No.
So it'd be fair to say that you were, to your knowledge, at that time, you were the only one that you knew that was struck.
From her vantage point underneath the wheels of your car?
Yes, to my knowledge. At
Would
that
it be-
time.
Would it be fair to say that there were numerous people in the general area that you were at that time?
Yes.
Again, point? Is there a point?
At that time, did you learn about anybody that was struck at the point in time that you were struck?
What?
At the time that I was hit, no.
That doesn't even make any sense. Why didn't they object to that? That makes no sense. Do you have a point? Come to a point.
And
Bring
you
this to
stated
a
that you
point.
didn't see any brake lights.
Asked and answered.
Correct.
How
You
can
were
they be
able
so
to see
patient?
that from the ground position.
Oh, God, he said it.
Correct.
Is he helping the prosecutor? Who are you working for, Darrell? Your client is not Pappy. I don't think Darrell made his client happy right there. Because that just helped the prosecution. You didn't see from underneath the wheels?
From your opinion, did it appear to you that the vehicle was attempting to strike anyone?
Objection calls for speculation.
Grounds.
The way he asked
Oh,
from
look at her. She's done. She can't take it anymore. Look at her. She built up enough resistance and confidence to be able to do this, and it's starting to waver. And I hope the prosecution sees that and starts shutting him down, and I hope the judge sees that and starts shutting it down, because he's repeating himself. He's not coming to any kind of point. He's certainly not coming to a point that's going to help him. In fact, a lot of his points hurt him. I'm pretty sure his client would agree if his client had half a brain.
The way he asked it, did it appear? If you know, you may answer.
It appeared it was traveling in the direction where it could have struck other people, yes.
There you go. That doesn't help you, Darrell.
But to the best of your knowledge, you didn't know for sure.
So in other words, to the best of your knowledge, that last question was speculation. Oh.
Ma'am, after receiving medical attention at Waukesha Memorial Hospital, did you receive any other medical attention following November 21st, 2021?
Objection irrelevant.
Overruled, she may answer.
And direct your attention back to the video. It was Exhibit 20, the one that was the overhead video. Do you recall seeing that video today?
Objection. She never answered the first question.
She said
Yes, she did.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't hear.
Objection. Interruption.
Quiet, but I heard it.
Ugh. How many people vote that he should not have been allowed to say the word objection? That half the time it should have been, at least half the time, it should have been interruption. He's just trying to interrupt. Ugh.
Do you recall seeing Exhibit 20, which was an overhead video of you being struck?
Oh, God, it was overhead.
Yes.
Yes. And was that the same red SUV depicted in that video as what you saw after you were struck?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank God. Okay. Woo! Is it emotional, Darrell?
She may.
I'm going to see real quick what they're going to
You
do.
may call your next witness.
The state calls Sarah Waymeyer Aparicio.
Okay, they're just going to another witness, thank goodness. Okay, I'm going to take a break. It's been an hour. Darrell tries my patience. I know he tries yours too. Well, that poor lady, she, at the end, was all of her resources, emotionally and physically, he had just worn them down. I think he wears everybody down. Oh my gosh. All right, everybody have a safe day. Stay warm. If you're in a cool climate like I am, it's raining and disgusting today. My dog's going to be very angry with me because I'm probably not going to walk her. I will see you very, very soon.